Hello and welcome back to the Icons of Sin. Me and Chris are back. Chris, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Been keeping myself busy with housework and DIY, looking after the pup. I'm all good. How about you?
I'm very good. Zero responsibilities here, apart from the cat. He pretty much takes care of himself, so it's all good. John was hoping to join us this week, but he is busy, unfortunately. We're very close to Christmas now, so, lots going on. But hopefully he's going to join us, maybe next time. He's going to be around, so it's going to be good.
John will be around.
He will definitely be around. But Chris, what have you been playing? Have you had time to play anything with all of your DIY and everything else going on?
I've been playing, again, a lot of Warzone. Because
awesome.
That's recently got an update.
Oh, has it? What have they changed?
Because Cold War has come out.
Yeah.
It's gone from Season 6 back to Season 1.
Oh, okay.
And in Warzone now, you can do missions and unlock the guns that are used in Cold War.
Ah, nice little cross promotion they've got going on there.
Yeah.
Nice.
And there's a new Warzone map called Rebirth Island.
Right.
I think it's a map from Cold War. It's a lot smaller. It's a lot faster paced.
Right.
And the only option is in normal Warzone you can do like solo, duos, trios, quads. In this one, on this map only, it's trio Rebirth.
Right.
So you have to go in sets of 3. And unlike Warzone, like when you die, you get one chance to come back unless your team buy you back. If you die, you've got to wait like 30 seconds though, and then you can come back. But it's only for the first half of the match. So you could die like 10 times, but still come back until like the timer or a certain amount of people are killed, and then it shuts off.
And then it kicks in with the main part of the game. Cool.
Yeah, so it's smaller, faster paced. You can come back, so you can rack up more kills. It's been really fun.
I'm glad, man. I need to dip my toes into Warzone, and we were going to do some cross-platform, weren't we? That was we were thinking.
Yeah,
about.
we said, I think we said that for the past 4 episodes.
We have, yeah. We've been saying it for a while, but we'll get round to it eventually. Have you been playing anything else?
Yes.
Ooh.
I've recently installed and started playing Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh my god, the addiction is back.
A little bit, because I just obviously I can't remember all the controls because it's been probably a year since I last played. Maybe longer than a year actually.
Probably longer than a year. 2020 has just flown by. It's barely happened.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, we've been in this house a year, and I've been up here like about a year and a half now. And the last time I played it was in Bristol, so probably nearing 2 years.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, how are you finding it? How are you finding being back into the world of Elder Scrolls?
I started a new character because obviously I don't remember the controls and all the like spell binds that I put on keys. Yeah. But what I do like is because my main character is, I think, champion rank 250.
Right.
Because when you get to level 50, then you go like you're level 50 champion rank 1. So I'm technically level 300, but the champion ranks, which let you put a load of buffs on different skills, carry over to new characters.
Oh, nice.
So now I have this level 3 character, which is still champion rank 250, with buffs on. I started a sorcerer, which I never do, but I found sorcerers in ESO have always been OP.
Yeah.
So now I'm a level 3 sorcerer with massive buffs. So even my starter spells can like one-shot the beginning enemies, where it normally takes about like 10, 11 shots.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm having fun, absolutely ruining the starting area.
Oh, that sounds like great fun to me. Well,
what have you been playing?
I've been continuing on through Diablo 2, replaying through Diablo 2, having a blast. I've been really busy with work, so it's kind of nice to have something. I'm not always a grindy person with games. I'm not a big fan of grind all the time, but every now and again, yeah, it's hit and miss, yeah, and but
Depends
occasionally,
on the game.
yeah, it depends on the game. And then occasionally you just, you need something a bit grindy when you just don't want to think about too much. You just want to, just want to de-stress after a day's work. So it's perfect for that. And I've been playing a lot of Diablo 2 again. Well, bringing us on to today's subject. Today, I was just like, I don't really know what to play. I just fancied playing a game, and I decided to pick up Fear and play Fear again. And I was surprised at how well that game has actually aged. It's still really good fun to play, and it has horror elements, which is something we're going to talk about today. What's today's topic, Chris?
Today we're talking about horror games.
We are, and me and Daz did some 3-4 hour horror game deep dive back in the early days of Icons of Sin. So we've kind of covered a history of horror games as best we could cover it. And our kind of personal histories with those games. But obviously we've never done it with you. And also, and this isn't a history. This is our memories of horror games. And,
this is more of a chat about horror games.
Yeah, a chat about horror games, because we've really got into our chats lately, haven't we? This is we like this format of the podcast. It's way more fun, way more informal, and just casual, and it's just nice. It's nice.
We found our groove.
I think so. I think so, and I like these more informal chats. I think it's good fun. It's a good direction for us. By the way, I've taken.
Plus, it gives me less anxiety.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, obviously, we don't want to cause problems there. I've taken your advice. By the way, I am using a desk mic stand. I've moved away from the arm that I was using a desk mic stand now, and I love it. I used it for the Movies Made Us Do It on Friday. No, the other day, and it was really good. It's really good. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's more, you don't have to worry about hitting it as much because
it's just out of the way.
Right there, you can see it.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
I like it.
I am, yeah, I love it. Yeah, I think I'm sold on this. So, horror games. Any particular place you want to start? Any big horror memories for you in terms of video games? And
I was thinking, maybe you start off this time because I've started off quite a few of them. So,
okay, fair enough.
Giving you the mic.
Giving me the mic.
Sure. The mic stand
and the mic stand, yeah, sure. So I mean, I've already gone through a lot of horror stuff before, so I've made a list of a few games that I just wanted to talk about. I'm trying to think my earliest horror memory though, and I think it was. Just say this.
I haven't played a lot of horror games, but the ones I have played, I've loved, even if they did
terrify
the crap out of me.
Yeah. Well, I know one that we're going to come to because we did mention it last week, and it is a terrifying game. We'll get to that. So a few games I
can't remember that.
Oh, you'll come to it. I know you will. We'll talk about it when you come to it. So yeah, I mean, early horror games. I mean, I played certainly some on the Commodore 64, some on the NES. Castlevania, I guess you could say it's horror elements, but it's not scary. It's a side-scrolling platformer. I mean, obviously 3D Monster Maze was probably the first horror game. I have played that, didn't play it originally, but I have played it. But yeah, in terms of a few games, for me, they hold a special place in my heart for horror games. One on the PC, which is kind of an adventure / horror, which I don't think many people have played, and I think is kind of criminal, is Realms of the Haunting, which is a game from 1997. It's a Gremlin interactive game, and it's about a guy called Adam who has dreams of his long lost father. He keeps having dreams and visions of his long lost father, asking him to come to this house. So he ends up going to the house in search of his father, his father's died. That's right, his father's died. So he goes because he's is somehow connected to his father. So he goes after his father's death to this house. immediately is locked in, as as is standard with all good horror games. You're locked in the house now, and it was an odd game when it came out because it was first person, but it had like point and click elements as well. So it's very much an adventure game, but it is an FPS as well. So it's got shooting out mechanics, and it also has kind of like System Shock, which we'll get to later, actually, System Shock 2 especially. But yeah, it's a creepy old house, and you're trying to unravel the mystery surrounding the house and your father, who's now obviously deceased. But the atmosphere in that game, the atmosphere in the mansion that you're in, is really creepy. And at times, back in the day, 1997, the pixelated rooms and the atmosphere, the music especially in that game is just incredible. The story and some of the enemies can be a bit goofy, if I'm honest, but it really has some moments of real tension building and real horror aspects for me. So Realms of the Haunting from 1997 is one I just wanted to get out there first, because it's one I know I missed last time. I remember that I missed it, so I wanted to get to it this time. Pick a game, Chris.
You know what gets me with the horror games? I know back then they weren't like realistic, but I know like games nowadays try to be more realistic.
Yeah.
And the whole like, oh, a ghost has locked you in the house. Break the window. Go.
Yep.
That always gets me. It's like, I know they're supposed to like tell a story, and it would be much of a game if you could jump out, but it's just something that's like, realistically, you could just go out the window.
It's something I always feel they should address in some way. In Realms of the Haunting, you can probably assume you do get to go outside within the courtyard of the mansion, but there's a lot of magic involved. So doors are sealed with like magical seals. So I guess you could assume the same.
That makes sense.
The same for the windows, but certainly some games I know, like Resident Evil 7. There's there are a few moments where I was like, just jump out the window. just leave now. Run away. There's a few games like that where you've got the window and you've got that obvious escape and you choose not to take it. But yeah. Any horror games for you? Where do you want to start with your horror?
I could do. Well, it's again, it had horror aspects.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's a true horror game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when my first experience with it, my first time playing it, did scare me. Is Doom?
No, I would say Doom is it's an FPS and an action game, but it's definitely got some horror elements. When it's about demons invading Mars. It's definitely a horror game, I think. Anyway, it does have some really creepy moments.
Yeah, if you remember back, I was very young when I first encountered. We figured out it was Quake, but I did actually talk to my dad that he did also play Doom. So
yeah, so both, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously I was 9, 10, somewhere around there. So, and I played it when I was probably about 12 or something. So yeah, that I had fun, but it scared me. So I kind of it has horror aspects, as you said. It's like demons and stuff like that.
It definitely does.
Yeah,
it's definitely got horror aspects, and that I think most games back then for graphical and power reasons, they would hide things behind fog, effectively. You put like a mist there to kind of hide the graphics, and you only need to render things when they're close. And most of that is usually like white, but what they did with Doom is obviously it was black. So everything fades into darkness. It goes into complete darkness everywhere you go. And to be honest, to this day, I think there is something really terrifying when you hear the roar of a pinky demon and you don't know where it is. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
That is terrifying. I think while it's certainly mainly action based, there is certainly some horror in Doom.
Yeah, well, I actually still play the original Doom to this day because obviously they
I love.
ported it to PS4 with the
Yeah,
original graphics, original levels,
that's
everything.
cool.
There is an option to sort of do levels that people have added.
Yeah,
But yeah, I still enjoy going back and playing the 1993.
yeah, think so.
Yeah, yeah, I still enjoy playing that Doom. But yeah,
I
younger
adore
that
Doom.
scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, and it is a real. It has got some really creepy moments, and I think it's easy to overlook that now because the graphics kind of come across almost cartoony these days and all that kind of stuff. But when it came out, that was a scary game, and if you're a kid, it's a scary game. My Doom of choice is Doom 2. I tend to play that, and I will play Doom 2. I probably play Doom 2 every week, every other week. I would jump in and do a level.
I never had Doom 2.
It's
but,
effectively
when I
the
did
same
originally
game.
have a see, I wanted to, but I just never had a platform to do it because obviously I went from like early PC, PS1,
Yeah.
and then someone gave my dad an Xbox, or was it? I think it was just a standard Xbox. It may have been a 360. I'm not sure, but they had Doom 3 with it, so I went from the 1993 Doom to Doom 3.
To Doom 3. Now, Doom 3 is a departure from Doom. I mean, Doom and Doom 2 are effectively they're the same engine. They're pretty much the same game. Doom 2 is kind of Doom perfected. It's got some different enemies, some different one new weapon, but it looks exactly the same. You could play Doom 2 and think it was Doom if you didn't know what you were looking for.
But if it's Doom perfected, I'm gonna have to play it.
I think so. I think it's the best that Doom got. Doom 2 is superb. But Doom 3...
Not to dismiss the 2017 Doom, because that was surprisingly very good.
Oh, I love 17, 16, somewhere around there. I love that Doom. That's a really good game. But I don't know. I think I'm biased because I grew up with these games, so I'm always biased towards Doom and Doom 2, the originals. I love the remakes, or they're not remakes, are they? They are actually sequels, because at one point you do actually figure out that you are connected to the original Doom guy, or that you are the original Doom guy. So they are sequels. But Doom 2016 or 17, I love that game, and I think
looked it up. It's 17.
17, nice, wonderful game. But yeah, Doom 2 for me is the where they perfected it. But you brought up Doom 3, and Doom 3 is an interesting one because with Doom 3 they definitely went horror. They took they moved far away from what Doom was, and they were like, no, we're gonna remake Doom but as a horror game. And it wasn't all that well received by a lot of people because they wanted classic Doom and didn't get it. But I think
I loved it.
So did I. I loved it, and I think over time people have started to really love and appreciate Doom 3 for what it is, because it's not an action shooter as such. It is a horror game, and as a horror game, it's really effective.
Yes, obviously when I went into it, I was expecting Doom.
Yes, absolutely, and so was I.
That first actual jump scare when one of those big demon things
just behind the door
just dropped down from the ceiling
out
of nowhere. I was like, oh, this is not Doom. You normally just go around, you can see the enemies. It's like, oh, I need to run. This looks bad. Just find the nearest corridor, run down it.
And I always remember people really hating the flashlight mechanic, where you can't hold a gun and a flashlight at the same time, and there have been many PC mods. Sorry?
I reckon that was quite clever.
So do I. Now, there have been many mods. In fact, one of the first mods, I think, for Doom 3 on PC was called gaffer tape or something like that, and it was literally like they just stuck the torch to your gun so that you could just use the torch all the time. I think that removes a massive element of Doom 3. It removes so much more of the tension and the horror aspect of the game. When you accept the mechanic, and when you accept that you need to use the flashlight to see, and then you switch to your gun, it becomes a terrifying game for me. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful mechanic.
Do you want to see or do you want to shoot?
Yeah, and that's what...
Those are your options. At the same time.
That is like quintessential horror, isn't it? That's a horror mechanic right there.
Yeah, no, that is. That's... Yeah. definitely. I know, as you said, a lot of people didn't take well to it.
I think
But
people have
I
come to appreciate
personally,
it now. But yeah, like you, I loved it from the beginning. I thought it was great.
after that initial jump scare, I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm in for a different kind of journey, but
Yeah.
I'm up for it."
And that's the thing. I think that's why people kind of rebelled against it, because it was so different. But I think nowadays we can look back on Doom 3 and just be like, it's so great because it was so different. And it is just such a great horror experience. I mean, those spider skull things are just the worst. They're so creepy. They
Oh God, yeah.
still creep me
They're
out now. And the
absolutely
graphics of that
terrifying.
game, man, the graphics were so good. I mean, it's John Carmack, so you kind of expect, excellence, but that game looks. I mean, I think that game still looks pretty good today, to be honest.
Yeah, because I do believe that was on original Xbox, and would it have, what's the rival to original Xbox? Was that PS2?
It wasn't on PS2. I don't think it could run on
Oh,
PS2. They made a version for Xbox, but I don't think they ever did it for PS2. I could be wrong.
so
I'm pretty
if
sure.
that's
I think it was
if
PC
that's
and
original
Xbox.
Xbox, if that was original Xbox,
I think it was.
then then there's been like 3 Xbox consoles since then, maybe
Yeah.
4, and it still holds up today.
Yeah, it does. It does, and they did a
It's still
remaster,
the same
didn't they?
era as the PS2, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same era. Yeah. It's the PS2 era, but it came
Yeah,
out
how
on
many PS2
Xbox.
games do you think of that hold up that well now?
Not many.
Not a lot.
There aren't many. And Doom 3 is definitely one of them. They did a remaster, didn't they? So there is a HD remaster on 360, which is
Oh, I didn't know
which is
that.
cool. Yeah. I think it's called BFG edition or something like that.
Oh,
but yeah.
well, I haven't owned an Xbox for ages.
Right,
Not si-
fair enough.
I had a classic Xbox.
Right.
I got given the 360, but it's got no power leads, and it's back in Bristol, and it's never been turned on by me. And yeah, that's about it.
Oh, fair enough. It's a wonderful game nonetheless. Absolutely love Doom 3. And Doom, yeah, and Doom is a fine choice for a horror game, I think, and it is a horror game. It's a horror series. But yeah, I'm going to mention, what shall I mention? Well, Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly, or Project Zero 2. I've mentioned, I think, during my horror episode with Daz, my love of the Fatal Frame series, or the Project Zero, as it's known over here, series. And Fatal Frame 2 is, for me, the best of the lot. It's the best Project Zero game that they made. It came out in 2003. And it was on the PS2, which, as you know, I think is the horror box. It is like more horror games on PS2 than any other console, I think, to my mind.
There was one.
So many. And it's one of the best for me. So it's set in Japan, and it follows two twins who were going to visit their favorite childhood play spot. And one of them follows a mysterious red butterfly into the woods. And the character you play as is obviously concerned for her sister and can't find her, and goes to find her, and discovers a village in the middle of the night which is seemingly abandoned. I don't know if you know the Project Zero series at all, but it's all based...
when you say Project Zero, I think of the Fear game, because there's Fear Project something.
No. So Project Zero is what we call Fatal Frame. So it's Fatal Frame in elsewhere, but over here for some reason it's called Project Zero. And it's basically yeah, it's a ghost game basically. It's a ghost hunting-ish game. So there's a plot, obviously, in each of the games, but it's based around this item called the camera obscura. So it's a camera, and it goes back to that old
the camera captures the soul.
Yes, the camera captures the soul. So this camera you can use to capture ghosts, or you basically destroy the ghosts by using the camera. And the camera obscura basically is in first person. So the game is played like a Silent Hill Resident Evil game where it's third person and you're just, following the character around different camera angles and all of that. But whenever there's a ghost nearby, the PlayStation controller or the Xbox controller will vibrate and kind of let you know. It kind of pulses to tell you there's a ghost nearby. And then you get the camera obscura out. And whenever you get the camera obscura out, it's in first person. So you go into first person and you have to try and take a photograph of the ghost at the right moment to capture it or to hurt it.
I actually think I know what game you're on about. Because I haven't played it, but I'm pretty sure I watched the Game Grumps play it. Because they do play a lot of older games.
Yeah.
So yeah, they played a game like that. So I'm pretty sure I know the game you're on about. It may be a game similar. But...
There's a more recent one. Maiden of Blackwater, something like that, on the Wii U, which I've not played. But
no, it's the name itself. Now that I've associated with that, the name itself kind of sounds familiar. I might be completely wrong, but it sounds familiar. But
I'm sure you're right. It's a really, really scary game. There are very few games that I've ever played in my life where I have had to stop and just be like, I need to stop for now because I'm too freaked out. And Project Zero Zero 2 is one of those games because it's story driven and you complete a bit and it's one of the few games where I've been like, I just don't know if I want to go through that door right now. I don't know if I want to go into that room right now. I don't know if I want to continue to the next chapter right now. I need a break because it's too much. You get to that point where you're like, I'm too much on edge. I need to calm down. I need to take a step back. And it's one of the few games where I've actually been like, I'm too freaked out. I need to stop. I need to stop for a bit.
Yeah, I've definitely had games like that.
I know you have, because one of them you mentioned last week, and we're going to get to that.
Is that by any chance Outlast?
It is. Do you want to talk about it now?
Yeah.
What a terrifying game Outlast is.
Yes, there is many... back in the early days of Chon games, there's... I think that's actually before the rename. I think that's back when it was Team Chos. But there is many a video of me trying to play Outlast, and it's 90% screaming.
Amazing.
And also, Chris, you reminded me, it was about this time last year that I tried to convince... I did convince her to give it a go.
Her?
And...
Chrissy?
Yeah, that... yeah.
Oh my god. How did she find it?
And that... it ended about the same as when I tried to play it.
So...
it's a very scary game.
So
I'm going to have to go back and play it again now.
I think it would make for some really fun Chon Games content. You playing that in the dark.
I was going to stream it.
Yeah.
I want to get VR and play it.
Oh my god!
No, actually, no. I don't want to die.
That would be terrifying. So, Outlast, for those that don't know, is a first-person horror game, and I think you're a psychologist, aren't you? And you go to the.
I thought you were some kind of. I thought you were some kind of reporter.
Reporter. Sorry, you're right. You're a reporter because you got the camera, and you go to basically a mental institution.
Abandoned mental asylum where something's clearly gone wrong.
Hopefully abandoned, supposedly abandoned, but then when you get in there, it's very not abandoned, and it goes back to I guess. Games like this have their kind of roots in the Penumbra games and the Amnesia games, where you don't have weapons. You just have to run.
You only options to run or hide.
Yeah, and that's basically the game. But it is so creepy because you're dealing with these mental patients and they act completely randomly. You don't know how they're going to react. Some of the scariest scenes are when nothing happens, but you're just walking through a room and one of them's there and you don't know if they're going to attack you or what they're going to do, and they're not doing anything, but you're like, at any moment this could change.
Or where it goes back to sometimes you'll hear noise and see something like out the corner of your eye or zip across a corridor.
Yep.
It plays on the fear instead of, because some games like, oh, we're going to show you this big scary monster that's chasing you.
Yeah.
But you hear something following you in Outlast. You turn around to see something zip across the corridor, but you can't make out what it is.
Yeah.
So it plays on the fear that you don't know what it is, but it is close and it's following you. And then your mind does the work. It's like, what is it? Could it be this? Could it look like this? If you don't, I know it's it's not all mental patients, is it? There is some actual weird monsters in there, like that massive guy. With
There's some weird shit going down. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it plays on your mind like that because you'll see something zip across too fast for you to really see what it is, and then your mind works, and you're like, what was that? Was that a patient? Was that one of the weird things? Was it a mix of both? What is it? What is it? What is it? And then you're conscious. You're constantly looking around. That's a good thing. The less you see of it, makes it scarier.
I agree, and that goes all the way back through all the horror games, doesn't it? I mean, even with Doom, it was the scariest thing for me playing Doom was hearing the Pinky Demon, but not seeing it, just hearing it, and knowing that it was going to come for me, but not knowing where it was. That was way scarier. When I can see them, it's less scary. And you're right at what you say about the monster thing. Monsters, I love the designs, and I love playing those kind of games. They don't do much for me. Like, what you don't see is much more terrifying for me.
Yeah, because your mind goes to the places that it thinks of what you're scared of personally.
Yeah.
So it's different for every person. So if I see something move, I could think it's something like I'm scared of. It could be, trying to think of, I don't know off the top of my head, but I could think of, say, like a weird, like, cryptid kind of thing. I could think it's something like that, and then you could think it's some kind of, like, wolf thing. It's different it's psychological. It's different for every person.
Yes.
Because you can't see what it is, and that's what makes it good and scary. Because you don't, it's the unknown. You're like, something is following me.
Yeah,
what
something.
Is it? I can't like categorize what it is, and then your mind works. You're concentrating on playing the game, but your mind in the back of your mind is like, what is it? What is it? So that's a really, really good type of horror.
It is. It's fantastic, and I think that's where a lot of games, like Silent Hill. The Silent Hill series, Silent Hill 2, I know I spent ages talking about when we were doing the podcast with Daz, but Silent Hill 2, for me, is my favourite Silent Hill game. That's got that element of, like, what's in the fog, and what are these creatures, and, you know, I mean, it does show a lot, but the way it introduces creatures is very much like that. It's very, what am I seeing? What is that in the darkness? What is that in the fog? What are these weird shapes I'm seeing? It's clearly something alive, but I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, that's why I think the Alien franchise has done good. Like, everyone knows what the Alien looks like now, but it's not there that often that it's just like, oh, it's an alien, I can do this. You're constantly especially like Alien Isolation.
So I was going to bring up Alien Isolation. It's in my list.
Where's it coming from? Alien Isolation?
Oh, yeah, it was in my list, so let's talk Alien Isolation. Yeah.
Back to Outlast for a few
seconds. Sure, yeah.
Have you finished it yet? Because I've been too scared to finish it.
No, I've not finished it. It's a game I keep meaning to go back to.
I'm going to go back to it and do a few videos and try and do it.
Do it.
Outlast 2020.
Come on. 2020 or maybe 2021 by the time you get around to it, but...
some Outlast videos will be up this year.
Oh wow! Okay, well that's a promise. Tron Games on YouTube gonna have some Outlast footage. Chris freaking the fuck out playing Outlast. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I haven't uploaded in over a week now, so I need to.
Yeah, it's been a busy time, you know. It's all good. I look forward to that. So,
don't wear headphones.
No,
or have it on low volume.
Have it on low volume, yeah. So
Alien Isolation,
which, you know, you were saying you don't know what's in the darkness, and you don't know what you're after, and usually that is a much more effective That's a much more effective horror for me. Is what you don't see.
Yeah.
Going into Alien Isolation.
The Alien franchise has built themselves, like on the films, the alien's not there all the time.
No.
But you have to fear it. And that's why this works, because obviously it's built on the franchise.
It's built wonderfully on the franchise. This is the first Alien game where I spent so long on that ship that you're on to begin with, before you even get to Sevastopol Station. I just spent so much time on that ship because I was like, this is literally Alien. Like every piece of furniture, graphically it's stunning, and it still holds up amazingly today. But the visuals and everything that the care and attention they've put into that game to make it feel like it's part of the Alien universe, it's so immersive. It is literally like being in an Alien movie. Everything looks perfect. And the weird thing,
I love this game, I love it for the game itself is brilliant, but I also love it because the Alien trilogy, I'm not counting the last one, is one of my favorite film series. Some of the new ones, or the spin-offs, like
I'm not a fan of any of that.
No, I reckon Prometheus. I reckon that was quite good. It was
the first one. The first one was definitely better than the last one, which was terrible. I thought anyway. Yeah, Prometheus was okay, I think. But yeah.
What was your favorite Alien film?
Oh, Alien, for me. And I understand the argument.
Aliens,
yeah. So
second one.
A lot of people do, and I am not ever gonna argue against that. They're two very different films, but they are both masterpieces. I think the first two Alien films are unbelievably good. But again, I have an absolute love for horror, and I think that Alien captures the horror aspect a lot better than Aliens, which is not really set out to be a horror movie anyway. It's more of an action movie with horror elements. But yeah, for me, it's Alien. It
scared me a few times when I saw it first.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, the weird thing is we know what the alien looks like. We've been watching Alien movies our whole life. And then along comes Alien Isolation. You're like, well, I know what the alien looks like. So in theory, that should be less scary because you've seen it a million times. But my God, the tension...
You've seen it, and you know you have to be scared of it because it is...
I'll tell you what,
it's a killing machine.
I was so careful when I first played through because I was terrified. Even in the opening segments, before the alien even turns up, I was convinced that alien might still be around to get me. Even before it's introduced in the game. When I'm walking around Sevastopol to begin with, and you're following that guy, I was like, oh my God, this alien is going to turn up at any moment. It's going to turn up at any moment. And the tension builds and builds and builds. And then, when it finally does appear, and you hide under that table and the tail comes down off the table onto the floor.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, this game. And it's so tense because it's got this AI where it just actively walks around hunting you. It's so creepy. It's so... I can't even explain how tense those moments are. When you can see, I need to get to that elevator, but... To get to that elevator, I need to power this up, which will make noise. And anytime I make noise, the alien's going to be alerted and it's going to start looking for me. And then I have to press the button on the elevator. And then I have to wait for the elevator to reach me the whole time it's making noise. And I know that this thing, it's a one-hit kill. If the alien gets you, you're dead.
Oh, yeah.
Instant death.
In that game, crouching became my new favourite pastime.
All I ever did was crouch the whole game, I think. You know.
Oh, Did you ever get simultaneously killed by an android and an alien?
No, because I can't say that ever happened,
and not in a good way.
Did the because the what are they, working Joes? The working Joes, they throw you back. Did he throw you into the alien?
He threw me into Alien. The Alien animation came up, and then the synth animation came up. So they kind of both reached for each other.
Double killed you.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, no, I got double teamed, and not in a fun way.
No, not in a fun way. So that's the other thing we should mention about this game as well, because when I went into this game, I thought it was just an alien game. I was like, oh, I'm going to be terrified of the alien on this station, Sevastopol Station. But when you get there, there are these they're like lesser androids. They're not like the Bishop level of android or the Ash level of android. They're like an early cheap model of android. They've got like almost like plastic looking faces, and they're basically there they're working Joes. They just do the laborious, boring tasks around the station. They clean up, they work security, that kind of stuff. But my God, those things are terrifying as well. I was not expecting that, but they are actually really terrifying. When you
Another thing,
the way they walk at you when their eyes change color and all of that, and
oh God, yeah.
Oh, and when you set them on fire and you're just looking at them, they're just still walking at you on fire. Oh my goodness, terrifying.
Yeah. Another thing that's quite scary, like the motion tracker. Because if you can't see the alien, but you can see the beep coming towards you, the little dot, and it's beep.
And
beep,
the fact that the
and you're
tracker,
like, I don't know where it is.
Yeah, and the fact that the tracker also makes noise, so you can't have the tracker out all the time. You can only have the tracker out occasionally to see you.
Otherwise, it'll find you.
You get to the stage of like you'll get the tracker out really quickly and spin around, try and pinpoint where it is, put it away again, and then just hope for the best. And then that horrible moment when you're looking at the tracker and you can see it moving really quickly and you know it's coming straight for you. It's like it's coming right now.
But you can't see it.
You can't see it, but you know it's coming. Yeah, and then hiding, which obviously goes back to Amnesia and Penumbra. I think Penumbra as well, but certainly Amnesia. Hiding in like cabin in like a cupboard or something and having that alien right outside and just being like, oh my goodness. Terrifying. And the voice acting's really good as well.
You feel hopeless.
Yes. Yeah. I think I felt the game kind of went a bit downhill when there were more than one. I kind of liked it when it was just the one alien. When it became more, you had the weapons to kind of start.
First half of the game is good.
The first half of the game is pure terror. And I love the whole game. But there is something about it being way more scary when it's just the one and it's pretty much indestructible, because later in the game you do get some weapons you can kind of at least fight them off. But that first half, you're just helpless. And I think the voice actor who plays Amanda Ripley does such a good job. Like hearing her voice and her like being terrified when you're hiding in a cupboard and the alien's outside and you can just hear her breathing and just like, oh my god. It's so terrifying. It's such a great game. I have nothing but praise for Alien Isolation, to be honest.
No, it is a very, very good game.
Yeah. Are there any other horror games that you're particularly fond of?
Dead Space 1.
I'm glad you said that. I'm not such a fan of the sequels, unfortunately. It's not on my list because I covered it last time, but I'd love to talk to you about it. So, Dead Space is... it's very much System Shock. It's System Shock, almost a System Shock remake with some really cool elements. And I think, for me, the coolest element outside of the atmosphere of that game is the dismemberment thing. And the idea that these creatures are so bizarre that that shooting them in the head is not necessarily going to kill them. Because they're just not... No. They're just weird things. And when I started playing it, Dead Space, I instantly was like, well, of course I'll shoot it in the head, because that's what you do. So you headshot it and it does nothing. And you have to work out what parts of each creature's body is its most vulnerable spot. And your traditions and what you've been ingrained in you as a video game player to do doesn't work anymore. And that's terrifying.
The first time one of them weird things came out of the vents scared the crap out of me. But they did become predictable by the end, which wasn't...
They did, yes.
But the first few times scared the crap out of me, because I don't really pay attention to vents, because they have those grates on.
Yeah, and then you realise, you're like, oh no.
And I'm like, oh god.
Yeah. What about the massive tentacle thing? Did that make you jump when it first grabbed you?
That can go fuck itself.
I think it's when you've just been on the outside of the ship, haven't you? Just been doing the outside of the ship and you come back in, and then this bloody thing grabs you out of nowhere and starts dragging you to your death, and you have to try and cut the tentacle before it takes you. God,
that thing can get in the bin.
Yeah, that was
me.
terrifying. But Dead Space 1, what a tremendous game.
Best one.
It's the best one by
one.
far. I think the second one's okay. The third one really loses it for me. But
I tried to play the second one, and
it's not as good.
It didn't feel like Dead Space to me. So
no. The first one
gave
is
up after about an hour.
Yeah, the first one is by far the best. I have all three and I've played all three, but I feel like I mainly only have them for completion's sake these days. Like I will, if I'm going to play Dead Space, it will always be the first one. The first one is fantastic. Oh, yeah. I really hope that series comes back in a good and meaningful way for maybe this generation. Yeah, like Doom did.
Like Doom came back like hard with Doom and Doom Eternal
as Doom
2017,
and it was Doom the Doom you remembered. Yeah. And that's what I'd like is another Dead Space game that's Dead Space, and I'm back there and I'm like, oh, this is Dead Space. That would be fantastic. I love the space scenes when you're out on the hull and there's no noise. Or like very muted noise.
That was good.
The creatures are all coming for you, but you can't even hear them anymore now. Now you can't even hear them, and you're in zero gravity.
That made it worse.
Oh my god, it was terrifying. Terrifying. But so much fun. Why do you think we like being terrified? It's an adrenaline rush, I think.
It's the same thing of watching horror films.
Yeah.
You want that
rush,
like surge. Yeah, rush. That's what I was looking for. I couldn't think of the word for rush, so I came up with surge, but it still works.
It's addictive.
It's that unknown thing. You feel too complacent in normal life, so you want something to scare you, something to stimulate you.
Yeah.
I love horror films.
I love horror films. Horror and sci-fi are my bag, basically.
Sci-fi is my bag, and I also like medieval films.
Oh, cool! Yeah,
like say like Kingdom of Heaven or the series Vikings or The Last Kingdom, something like that, or Nightfall on Netflix, which is one of my favorites, about Templars. Like,
did you
stuff
ever
to do with knights stuff?
Aside, yeah, stuff with knights. I know you're a big fan of that.
Yeah,
stuff.
well, it's also because I am a
swordsman. Right?
Swordsman. Yeah. Well, I've not only done it. Practiced sword techniques in martial arts. I've also done it in certain I wouldn't say Renaissance, but kind of medieval swordsmanship classes.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like reenactment, but they teach you the actual technique that they used. So I'm a pretty decent swordsman. There's only one person that I actually know that can beat me in a sword fight.
Oh wow! Okay. As an aside, a very brief aside. Did you ever watch? I'm trying to think of the name of it now. I think it's called Outcast or something like that.
Don't think so.
It's about an alien creature landing on Earth, and there's it's during it lands near a Viking settlement, and the Vikings think that it's a dragon. And then this guy comes from space, and he's there to kind of hunt this creature, and he has to team up with the Vikings to take out the monster. It's like Alien meets Viking England, Viking, wherever they are at the time. I think it's set in England. I can't remember if it's set in England or not. Wherever it is, anyway. But yeah, that
sounds like a mixture of both of my favourites.
Yeah, it's real cheesy in places, but it's a fun movie. It's kind of like a half horror, half kind of ticks all of your boxes. Basically, is why I'm saying it.
You know what? After this podcast, I'm gonna have to find a horror film, and we're gonna have to watch it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely watch some horror tonight, especially after this conversation. This is great. Are there any other horror games that you want to talk about that you've got fond memories of, or?
I've got fond memories of one, but I can't remember too much because I was young. So it's more of an honourable mention. The first ever. Well, it's probably not the first ever, but it's the first Alien game on
Alien Trilogy?
PS1. Yes.
I like Alien Trilogy. It's a fun game.
It was scary at the time. It's probably not as scary now, but I was young when I was playing it.
Well, I'll tell you this. I say recently, this year, I got Alien Trilogy working on PC. It's a kind of a bitch to get working. But one of the things I did initially was I got it working, but I hadn't limited the frames because a lot of games are frame locked, so they won't go crazy. Older games, they never really thought about that necessarily, so some games don't have a limit on the frame speed. So when you put it on a new PC or an up-to-date PC, it will run super fast. And when I first played Alien Trilogy, because I on PC or replayed it, I hadn't limited the frames. The game ran really quickly, and let me tell you, running it like twice the speed, Alien Trilogy is still fucking terrifying because those face huggers are so quick and the aliens are so fast. It's really creepy. But no, I would say Alien Trilogy was creepy when it came out, and I still think it's quite creepy now, especially the face huggers.
Yeah. Especially if you don't see him coming and then it just flies at your screen. You're like, oh, where did that come from?
Yeah, absolutely. It is really a creepy game in places. It's kind of an arcadey. It's like shooter, an arcadey version, arcadey shooter of the Alien trilogy. So it broadly follows the trilogy, although it doesn't really. It kind of takes a lot of liberties. But yeah, I've got really fond memories of Alien Trilogy, and I do think that it is really creepy in places. Certainly early in the game, I think it's really quite creepy when you're just sort of discovering all of these different types of alien and different,
yeah,
those that's like really creepy. Yeah, I've got really fond memories of Alien Trilogy. I think it's a good shooter, really good fun, and it hasn't aged too badly.
I think I mentioned. Oh no, I would love to get it ported to something else, or maybe get it on PC or something when I get a PC.
And as I said to Daz, I can still remember to this day, and I think I'm right. I can't. It's something like I wear acid boots or something like that. Was the cheat on PS1 to give you all the weapons and for Alien Trilogy. I've got acid-proof boots or something like that. It's something like that you put in the code and it would give you... You put it in the password thing.
I do miss the days of cheat codes.
Yeah, me too. It's good fun. But yeah.
Like the one of my favourites was the cheat code for the tank on GTA 3 and then turning the turret backwards, firing it.
While everyone's chasing you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got such fond memories of that.
No, the bridge, when the bridge wasn't open, because if you hadn't progressed in the storyline that much, one of the bridges were down to the next island.
You had to try and jump it, though.
So you spawn the tank, turn the turret backwards. When you get to the jump, you fire, and you make it. You fire the tank, and you make it.
I never knew that. Do you know, I made it with the dodo once. I got across that bridge with the dodo.
You can 100% of the time, you can make it with the tank.
I didn't realise you could do that.
When you get to the jump, you fire the turret backwards, and it shoots you up.
That's awesome. I didn't know you could do that. That's great. I wish I'd known that. I'm going to have to go back and play it and do that now. Give that a try. That's awesome.
Okay, I was going to say, if they've patched it, it won't work, but it's an old game.
I'm sure they won't have patched it. They'll have left it the same.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Have you played that Phasmophobia?
I haven't, but I have seen people play it, and it looks like so much fun. So
yeah, I haven't played it either. I've watched people play it, but it does look. The people I've watched play it are obviously like comedy gamers, like kind of what I do. I don't play stuff seriously.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, even from their comedy point of view, it looks kind of creepy.
It looks amazing. So it's basically a multiplayer. It's a multiplayer game where Yeah, you're ghost hunters, but the cool thing about it is that it uses all of the ghost hunting equipment, and you basically have to go and you do really cool things. Like you'll have to say the name of the ghost to get them to appear, and basically you need to identify the ghost and find evidence of the ghost and what type of ghost it is, what type of creature it is. Because it could be a ghost, it could be a poltergeist, it could be a demon, could be whatever. Yeah, and it looks terrifying. It looks absolutely terrifying. I really want to play it.
Yeah. The people that I've been watching playing it have been doing it in VR as well.
Oh my god, that would be terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say on that game, but I want to play it.
That's on my list. I just need to find some like-minded friends that were willing to play it.
As soon as I don't know if it's cross-platform. I don't even know if it's on PS4.
I don't know. I think it might be PC only.
As soon as I get a PC, there's going to be a long list of games that I need to play, and me and you are going to play and record together.
Oh, for sure.
So many games.
For sure. Yeah. We'll definitely do that. And that should be one of them because it looks terrifying.
Oh, definitely. But I still think Age of Empires is at the top of the list.
Oh, me and you are destined for an Age of Empires duel at some point soon. Once you've got your PC or your laptop, it's on the list, man. It's going to happen.
A duel and then a me and you against some other players, so we can make an Icons of Sin empire.
An empire of sin. Yes, I'm well up for that. Yes. That sounds good. So, are there any other horror memories you wanna touch on before we wish each other a Merry Christmas?
I'm thinking, but I think I'm pretty much out of horror games.
Cool, man. I mean, I've covered a lot in the previous one, so if there are horror games you want to hear me talk about, I have whittled on about it probably in the previous one with Daz when we did horror games. This was just a nice look at a few horror games, a nice chat about a few terrifying games that we've experienced. And again,
it's almost an hour.
It's almost. It's almost exactly an hour. We're 59 minutes now, but also I always come away from these game chats wanting to replay a game. And Alien Isolation right now, I feel like I have to play it again, and maybe Outlast as well. Although I think instead of playing Outlast, I'm going to just watch you play Outlast, which I think will be more fun. I'm either
gonna stream Outlast or I'm gonna record and do it. But I think if I stream it, you can see my face as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna play it, curtains closed, lights off.
Oh yes, dude, you have to.
Closed.
You have to.
Yeah, and I'm gonna play it with. I normally don't play with headphones on, because obviously I've got a standalone mic, so I don't need them.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna play with headphones this time, and I'm gonna turn it up like high.
Yeah, get all of that atmospheric
so the
noise.
Scares are going to be real.
I love it, man. This sounds like fun. I'm going to enjoy watching you play that, and I'm going to probably play through Alien Isolation again because that game is a masterpiece, and it deserves a proper sequel. God damn it!
I need to buy Alien Isolation again because that's again another game that I haven't finished.
I think you'll get it pretty cheap these days. It's a reasonably old game, like 2014, I think. So yeah. Oh, great stuff, man. I've enjoyed this chat. I enjoy our game chats. These informal chats about games I really enjoy. Any thoughts for the next episode, which will be the start of next year?
Oh, it will.
It will.
First podcast of the year. Mm-hmm. Wow.
First Icons of Sin of 2021.
I don't have any ideas actually. Do you got anything that comes to mind?
Not right now. I guess we can go and enjoy our Christmas and have a think, and then see what we fancy covering. But
I was kind of thinking if we talk about our favorite game series is like
okay. So franchises.
I think we've talked. Yeah, say like the Dark Souls series, the Fallout series, stuff like that. But I think we've covered most of them before.
we probably have. I mean, I'm more than happy to talk about them again. Or we can just have a think and see what we come up with over Christmas.
We'll put that on the back burner, and we'll have a bit of a think.
Sure, that sounds good to me, man.
Oh, another idea. This just come to me.
Go for it.
What about potentially talking about movies that are based on games? Say like the Doom movie,
Okay.
Sonic movie, the Mario movie, stuff like that.
I'm up
It'd
for
be
that.
a bit of a funnier one, but
I'm up for that. Do you want to do that? That's cool. That's kind of a crossover with my other podcast, the movie podcast. I'm up for
well,
that.
if we put the series and the video game based movies on the just
I'll
to
put
the
them on the
side,
list. Put them on the list.
unless we think of something else. But
I'm well up for that.
Some-
Talking about video games, I'm up for sure. So
now I need to think of movies that have been made on games because I thought of Doom and the Mario movie and Sonic, and now I'm like, oh bugger, I can't think of any.
there is the Resident Evil series, which is like 5 million
how did I
films.
forget that?
There's Silent Hill, 2 Silent Hill movies, Alone in
How did I
the
forget
Dark.
Is that a movie?
They made an Alone in the Dark movie. It's terrible, I think. I've never watched it, but I know it exists. I'm sure it exists. Were there any others? Obviously Mario, Sonic.
Mario was terrible.
Mario was absolutely terrible. Sonic was actually pretty good when it came out. I actually really enjoyed
I
Sonic.
haven't seen Sonic.
Oh, we had a
made
great.
movie.
You know what? It's nonsense as you'd expect, but we had a lot of fun. Me and my fiance couldn't see each other for 4 odd months this year because of lockdown. And when we were allowed, because she's a single occupant, when she joined our bubble, it was the first thing we did was watch the Sonic movie, and we really enjoyed it. It was really good fun. So that's.
Oh, well, I assumed you lived together.
No, we don't live together. I'm afraid. No, not yet.
You live with Shep, yeah?
Yeah, I live with Nick. Yeah. He's upstairs right now, probably playing a
Say
game.
hi to him for me.
I will say hi to him as soon as I get off this episode. I will go up and say that you said hi. But
We
yeah,
should get Sheps on the pod sometime.
we could do that. I'm set up for multiple people here. I used to do these podcasts with someone in the room. It's only because of the pandemic that I've started doing it online. So it's all been new for me. It's been an interesting year, but I quite like it. I think we do well over the internet. You know, I think we do well with this.
Definitely our dynamic, our kind of groove, more laid back, talk about our experiences. I
think it works better, doesn't it? Like you said, I think we're at the end of the year, the end of 2020, and I think we've found our groove together and how how we work best. It's good fun. But in any case, thanks for listening, everybody. I hope crazy shit going down, obviously, and all the awful stuff going on. Hope you all have a good Christmas in spite of it. Chris, I hope you and Chrissy and the kids have a great Christmas. I'm sure I'll talk to you on around Christmas anyway, but I hope you guys have a great one. What are your plans? Are your plans still able to go ahead? Are things okay?
We're not going to have family around.
No. But you can still.
This year we're going to have the boys in the evening.
Okay.
And because you're allowed to mix with the same bubble.
Oh yeah, of course.
Her parents round on Boxing Day.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's what we've really planned. I mean,
Nice.
I did plan to go see my dad's and my grandma, but my grandma's in tier 3. My dad's had to isolate due to work. So they're the only two that didn't go ahead. But I'm not bummed about it because I've been talking to my dad. I've been talking to my grandma. And
you could meet up hopefully early in the year. Things will be a bit better.
Yeah. And obviously, I've got Chrissy, I've got the boys, I've got Chrissy's parents. So I've got Chrissy's parents and her brother and her brother's fiance. That is my family up here. So
yeah,
if I'm not seeing my blood family, I've still got a family to see. So
that's good.
It's all good. It's all good up this end.
Good. Well, I hope
we got a puppy.
Plus, you have got a very happy puppy. Well, I hope you have a good Christmas, Chris, and I hope everyone listening has a good Christmas. We will catch you next time, which will be the first episode of 2021.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. And thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And Merry Christmas, Durs.
Thank you very much. Catch you next time, everybody.